Hey, Valuable Coaching. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Today, another Mindful Monday. Trying to make this better each and every week. Got a little bit more to put into the show today. Check the notes, the show notes at the bottom. Or if you're listening to this on podcasts, check out some of the links that I'm adding to some articles that we're using today to kind of help out our content. On this Mindful Monday, though, we have another great quote for this week. Hopefully get you guys through one more week. If you're a teacher who coaches, a lot of you guys are going to have a couple weeks off here coming up, so hopefully this can push you through those couple weeks and get us ready for the new year. The quote today is, "Grit is having the courage to push through no matter what the obstacles are because it's worth it." That's from Chris Morris. We talked some about grit in our podcast last week with Kevin about recruiting, and I want you guys to go ahead and take a listen to what he said. You know, he was saying how this is kind of a new buzzword and that, you have to be gritty in order to get recruited. But let's see how Kevin, talked about that in last week's long-form interview.
Nailed it. I mean, I know, and I'm just talking about the guys we've already interviewed and the people we know really well, but Coach Fisher at Pittsburgh's huge on that. He wants you playing beach all the time. Coach Thomas, before our interview, when we were just talking, he showed us a picture on his phone of someone playing at a chain link fence and a ball going over a chain link fence. His point was, if you don't have the financial means, there's ways you can play. And I actually think if you show a coach like, hey, I'm playing beach because of this, and a little of it's financial, that's going to show that you have grit. And grit's a big, buzzword right now in our, world of recruiting.
Yeah.
And when you show that you're tenacious and you want to get after it, that's something a college coach will be attracted to. So, yes, beach volleyball, grass volleyball, I think is a really good avenue.
All right. Yeah, it was great. I mean, like Kevin is saying, you got to be gritty. So if you're somebody who's trying to recruit yourself really to anything, but especially if, what we're focused on, volleyball players, if you're trying to get recruited, to go coach somewhere, or if you're getting recruited as a player, which was what that episode was really about, you got to have some grit, which if we jump into this, grit is really defined as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. Grit entails working strenuously toward challenges, maintaining effort and interest over years despite failure, adversity, and plateaus in progress. And this is from Dr. Angela Duckworth. And she's kind of the, she's the one who really took this term grit and has been applying it to sports and towards success and exercise and kind of the realm that we're talking about. And so this first article talks about this a little bit, the importance of grit in sports performance. And, it's not just working harder. That is definitely a big part of it. But like this says, it's maintaining interest over years, despite having failure, despite having adversity, despite plateauing. A lot of times we work hard and you get better and you see progress, and then all of a sudden we just kind of flatten out. And when you hit that flattening out time, are you going to continue to work to break through that and take everything to the next level? And that's, I think, something we're all striving for as coaches and then as players to figure out, how do we continue to get better. Even the best coaches in the world who are coaching at the very top levels, they have to keep figuring out ways to improve their coaching, and they have to have some grit to do that. And those, I think it's one of those things that we all have to just kind of fight through. It's not easy to want to keep pushing when something gets hard, but we have to do that. Hey there, listeners. Sorry for the interruption. Just wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, OneStoneApparel.com. They make great shirts, great apparel. Check them out, OneStoneApparel.com. Dave at OneStoneApparel.com. Is that when it comes to achieving the goals that matter most, grit trumps talent. Smarts, privilege, and luck. This is from a leading researcher, Paul Stoltz, who's a PhD, and he's the author of Grit, the new science of what it takes to persevere, flourish, and succeed. He also says anything worth accomplishing in life, without grit, you'll never get there. So again, we're hearing these same things where this grittiness is going to trump smarts. We kind of discussed this again in that podcast with Kevin, is that the grittiness will trump your talent in volleyball, or whatever the sport is that you might be doing. Again, I've seen kids who are extremely talented kind of plateau and then stop and not want to go on. And there's other kids who, and student athletes who are not as good, but they continue to work extremely hard and boost themselves up and get that opportunity because of that grittiness. And so that brings us to this picture that I'm going to put up here. It's about success and really the iceberg illusion of success. And this is also something that comes from some of these same things, and I have the article attached with the picture. And this article is great. It's grit. It's about perseverance and passion for long-term goals, again, by Angela Duckworth. But it talks about having resilience, ambition, sticking to it. So all these kind of big buzzwords: perseverance, commitment, continuing after negativity. So again, that's can, if you want to break it down. Continuing, the C, after negativity. So we want to do that. And if we look at this iceberg here a little bit closer, you'll see that you really are, people see the success that you're having, but beneath that, what they don't see is your dedication, your hard work, your discipline, getting up, getting after it early in the morning, your disappointment, lots of disappointments along the way. Not everything goes according to plan, and so you got to bounce back from that. The sacrifices you make, if you really want to be really good at one thing, you have to make some sacrifices. It doesn't mean you have to give up everything. Doesn't mean you have to stop doing other things completely. But you got to have that. To have that grit, you're going to have some sacrifice. There's definitely going to be some failure, and then there's going to be some perseverance. If you're out there running and you get to that hill and you've already almost completed your run, do you want to go up that hill and persevere and push through it and have that grit, or are you going to stop? Another person I love to listen to is Ed Milet, and he really talks about this maxing out and using your time. And those are things that you're not going to see. Those are all under the surface. Your friends and even some of your family aren't going to necessarily see all that extra work and effort you're putting in. But it's going to show in the success you have, and that's really what people are going to see, and you're going to know how hard you worked and how much grit you put into it. So, I hope that this week people can get out there, be gritty, find ways to be creative, fight through the adversities that you're having, and find a way to do your very best. And in this season of giving, hopefully, you can find ways to give back. And if you're in a spot where there's some tighter lockdowns, find a way to reach out and, show your grittiness through getting your players engaged in something, even if you can't, meet up and practice with them. So anyways, again, this week's quote about grit, I want people working hard. And again, grit is having the courage, though, to push through no matter what obstacles are, because it's worth it. It's going to be worth it to be gritty. You're going to come out on the other end ahead. And, much like in that recruiting video and podcast, if you have the grittiness, if you're willing to write that extra email, if you're willing to send a card, if you're willing to improve on the things that coach criticizes you for and says you need to get better at, then you're going to come out ahead. So continue to work hard this week, and we'll look forward to bringing you more content throughout the weekend. Trying to continue to make this better. Kevin and I are both trying to show some grit and lead by example by continuing to figure out ways to make this better, grow it. And again, we could definitely use your feedback. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe, send us a question, tell us how we're doing. If you're watching this on Instagram, same thing. Please let us know what you think, how we can improve, And, we want to make some changes to make this better for everybody. And if you're listening to us on podcasts, again, check out some of those links today. Continue to listen, and we're so thankful for people who are. You guys have a great rest of your Monday, and we look forward to talking with you more this week.